I've often thought about what would the perfect player look like.
It might play the game in a completely different way from the way that we play it.
As a chess player, you want to know more about chess, you want to get deeper, and there is so much still to learn.
AlphaZero played a match against Stockfish, which was the strongest computer that we all knew, and it won the match.
And all of a sudden I thought, wow,
does this really work? How does it know how to do it?
I started thinking, oh, it's quite interesting, and there's just a couple of games that went bang.
And these were very exciting games, very attacking games, giving pawns away right at the early stages of the game. The other computers were thinking, well, that's too early.
AlphaZero doesn't have any rules. It learns through experience.
Really didn't think there was room for this huge attacking style, never in my wildest dreams.
There's even more depth than we thought in chess.
It's like discovering the secret notebooks of some great player from the past.
It explains AlphaZero's strategies.
How does AlphaZero think? AlphaZero blows apart what traditional engines are doing.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this stream. You can see that Natasha's getting steadily more experienced in this because she was drinking her cup of tea but put it down quickly just before the video ended so that she'd be ready and available just as the stream
Exactly,
started.
you're not catching me out this time.
So actually, I'm actually wondering, I was looking at the games, they seem to have started already in the juniors.
Perfect. Well, let's dive straight in then.
Let's dive straight in.
Today we're going to cover the juniors and the seniors, so the whole range of ages today, except for the ones in the middle. So under 18.
From 8 to 800, I'd say. That's
8 to 18 and 50 plus, so over 50s, over 65s. The over 65s tournament is, of course, being held in memorial of Julian Farrand. And so there's a Julian Farrand trophy that will be awarded for that one. Top board on that event is Tim Harding, the chess author, against, let me get this right, George Green. And George Green is actually a point clear in that tournament. So looking over him, it is round 6 of 7 in the seniors. In the over 50s, we have on top board Remy Tayo against Clive Frostick. And again, round 6 of 7, and Clive Frostick is half a point ahead of the field at the moment. The juniors is in a slightly earlier stage of the tournament. So, for example, the under 16s, or all of them, they're on rounds 5 out of 7. So 5, 6, 7, 3 rounds to go in the junior tournaments. Matthew, it looks like the juniors have started already. So is that a good place to start? Start at the young ages and work our way up?
Well, yeah, you better call out some names because obviously I've followed everyone.
Yes, okay.
And,
so top of the under 8s, we have Patrick Damodaran, who is Patrick 2012-12.
We have him.
Here
we are.
Yes.
Oh, this is exciting, actually. This is an exciting... am I still there? AskChess.com, I said, yeah. Exciting opening, this. So, C4, Knight F6, G3, E5, Bishop G2. And now Bishop C5, a very sharp line, played by Fabiano Caruana as black. And also, there have been some incredible AlphaZero Stockfish games in this, which we looked at on our Game Changer YouTube channel, which is where you're watching this now. So if you ever fancy a little bit more depth on this opening, then you can have a look at the Game Changer channel, because AlphaZero actually played the move Knight F3 in this position. Let me bring up an analysis board just to show you, because it's quite incredibly fascinating. And there was a game between the Spanish player David Anton and or David Anton against Grishuk in this line. and also a game of I think it was Fabiano Caruana as white against Jordan van Foreest, the Dutch player, and it went in this very sharp manner. D5. I think they take on D5 now. Takes D3. Knight G4. Attacking F2. Castles, and then this move. G5. So very sharp, very sharp game there. Hey, hello everyone. Hello Wolves DB.
Yeah, hi
Hello,
Caroline and Dave as well. Nice to see you on the chat. How are you doing?
So this is a very sharp line, and there've been a few games. There've been some incredible Alpha Zero Stockfish games in this. White, perhaps very sensibly, plays D3, so stopping E5, E4, and after castles from Black, plays Knight F3 now, so that the Knight has got room to go to, so that the Knight is not going to get chased away by E4. What can Black do here? D6 is quite reasonable. Rook E8 is maybe interesting. The reason I'm slightly doubting that is that you can sometimes play this move against these lines. Knight takes E5. And then Rook E5, I can go D4 and fork these two. What you can do as Black, because White's wasted moves, White's gone D3 and then D4, you could consider with Black playing a move like Bishop takes F2, King F2 and Rook takes E5. That's possible, although these sort of things normally end up looking quite decent for White after E4. I'm actually wondering whether Black's got another possibility, which is to go Queen B6. So stopping White from going D4, attacking this one, and also threatening Bishop takes F2. Might be quite a sharp little line there. So maybe that Rook you can get away with Rook E8. But we'll just have a little look, see what it's gone. Well, actually, Black did go Rook E8. White didn't risk this Knight takes E5 idea, which would have been interesting, but very risky. Ooh, I'm sorry, always doing that wrong. Castles, and then Black goes D5. So in principle, Black is going to be, I suppose, fairly happy here that got double pawn center, but Bishop G5 pinning. And also obviously putting some pressure on the D5 pawn. And here Black decides to play D4, Knight E4, attack the bishop, threatening to double the pawns there. I suppose Bishop E7 was sort of normal in this position. If you go Bishop E7 here, it looks like you may be losing a pawn, but you're not, because Knight takes E4, Bishop E7, Queen E7, Bishop E4, and then Queen E5 just picks up a piece. So Bishop E7 would have been quite reasonable. Knight BD7 was played, and this really did give White the opportunity to double the pawns, because if Knight takes F6 now, then Knight takes E5. So Bishop F6, Gf6, and now I'm expecting Knight H4 from White, and that's a big early advantage. It's lovely soft square on F5. Bishop's going to have to move before this Knight can move, and I think we're going to follow up with F4, or maybe even E3 as a pawn sacrifice, and just get that queen across to the king side. Very dangerous. So I think this has definitely been a good start for White on top board. Now let's have a look. We're going to work our way through board 2. That was Demian 777 against New White Baseball. Now that's been a sort of a dragon here, and a little bit of a confused situation. Black has, I think Black's should be doing absolutely fine here. Black's just played the Knight to E5, which is threatening a tactic. Knight takes F3. So the under 8 game. So let me just go back to that one. Yeah, I mean, actually in this position, the open G file isn't the main thing. The main thing actually is this f5 square. That's the key one. I mean, this pawn has moved to f6, double pawn, so it's no longer able to defend that one. And well, before black can move this protector square with the bishop, he's going to have to move the knight out of the way. So what I really want to do was to actually open the F file. Oh, good Lord, I'm mousing with the wrong hand. Sorry, RSI prevention. So so I'm actually I want to open the F file there. And what I wanted to do was to play knight h4, bishop f8 probably, and then f4 here, and just get that F file open and really start clamping down on this square. And another idea would be to play e3 and queen g4. So it's not really the file that's been the G file that's been opened, but it's more the weakness on the F file along here that you really want to attack Wolseley B. So let's have a look. So knight e5 was played in this game. Threatening knight takes f3. White castles kingside, which is interesting. Always a little bit scary after you've thrown your kingside forward like this to then castle kingside. It's more normal to castle queenside. However, I can imagine that White was thinking, well, black's got a rook here. The queen is on the queen side as well. I'm going to castle on the other side. But I mean, in general, I think black's doing quite well here. I think probably king g2 will be played. Maybe the move that tempts me is to play f6 as black. Get this open and start getting some play on the f file, because this is quite a weak pawn.
I quite like the look of that knight on e5.
Yeah.
If white ever does go f4, then you can always hop into g4 if you want to.
Exactly. So no, I mean, I think that that black's doing quite nicely here. So I mean, I'm not sure that queen b6 check was super necessary. I mean, I might have because it was quite a nice pin, this one, on this, because the knight couldn't actually move, because the queen was unprotected. So a move like f5, to be honest, would have been my I think my choice. Just get it going, really. But still, black's got a very pleasant position there. Luca Chess. That's who we're looking for against Advite 1603. So what have we got here? We've got some sort of modern here, and there's a bit of a fight for this square, and also for this square as well. I mean, the centre's quite under quite a bit of pressure here. So let's have a think. What could we do in this position? So white's got this this knight on b5. So bishop d7 was one of the moves I was thinking about. The idea is to threaten knight g4, attacking the bishop on e3, and putting more pressure on this pawn on d4. I mean, I think probably white should play d5, and maybe after knight e7 can just carry on with c5, which is quite strong. I wonder whether I wanted to do something bold and dramatic, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure that it was possible. Well, I mean, you're looking at tricks here and discovered attacks, but I don't. I'm not sure. I mean, knight h5 was quite interesting as well. Just or something like knight d7. I mean, I'm not quite sure which. Knight h5, just with the idea of d5, I'm going to take on f3 maybe and go knight d4, or maybe better to do it with a knight on d7. But bishop d7 is interesting. It's I think d5 is quite reasonable. Maybe h3 even is possible. Normal King's Indian pretty normal King's Indian position, I think. So we'll see how that goes. Now the next one has got a great username, Sausage88.
This is board 4 of the under 8s that we're looking at now.
Indeed, but here this looks like it's going to be a win for black, because black is already a rook up here, and after rook takes d3, followed by bishop takes d4, then it's going to. It looks like it's going to work out very well there. So yeah, that's going to look that's looking very good for black there. Having fun time. Oh, I hope you are. Let's have a look. Where have I got having fun time? There we are, against VS1 8343. Well, white is a pawn up in this position. Black's got some reasonable compensation here, you know, some activity and some pressure against the f2 square. But white's got you know, a possible knight on e4. So I mean, I think if I was black, I would sort of expect to play maybe something like bishop b6. Could that be reasonable? Just block the pawn on b7, then get ready to bring the rook into d8. I might play g6 as well to take away the f5 square, and then maybe g6 and f5. You know, just take away some squares from this knight. Try and make that one passive. It's yeah. I mean, I think black's got full compensation for the pawn there, but not yeah. I mean, nothing astounding there, but just you know, balanced position with play for both sides. I saw that one. HB 3840. Ooh, wow! That king's come all the way up to. How did that happen? So we got. Oh, there was a bit of a pin on there, and the king came all the way up. Queen to e2, but so I mean, it's very, very tempting to try and do something, but the king will be able to come back, you know, so it's not too bad. Yeah, quite a complicated position, this. I mean, black's gone c4 here, which releases tension on the center. So in principle, it gives white, you know, a bit of freedom to play e3 to e4. But obviously, you know, the king is weak. Black's got quite a bit of space. Yeah, I mean, quite a complicated position. I think I'd probably prefer to be black here. I'm a little bit worried about what's happening with this king on g3.
Yes, it doesn't have many squares.
Yeah.
So if you do deflect that knight, you might be able to get a.
Yeah, I would. I think I'm sure I would have been playing king f2 and maybe king e1 to d2 simply. You know, just bring it along there and then get back. Queen f2 is really. I mean, you know, white of course wants. White's going for the counterattack. You know, white wants to play knight e5, but. Yeah, and then knight d7, yeah, is probably going to be the best way. But I mean, the one problem is that if white goes knight e5, then as soon as you go knight e5, I get queen h4 check, and I can always at very least swap off the queen. So you're not going to get that that pressure along the f file. So I would probably play knight bd7 as black, you know, and just and prepare probably to go castle to castle queen side. I think I'm worried though. I really am worried that that white's going to forget about the king on here and just get it trapped. So let's have a look. We've got Glad Rainy Umbrella. Glad Rainy Umbrella against Cute Teeny Cold. Oh, let's have a look. What a nice name that is.
Yeah.
That's George Chen, isn't it? That's right. D4. Well, black is a pawn up in this position. Now, I'm not 100% sure about that last move, D4, because well, it's going to free the bishop, so that's really good from that point of view. But I think the chances that you lose this pawn are quite are reasonably high. Although, pardon me, after that move from white, I'm not so sure. I think probably b5 would be a pretty good move here. Just guessing.
Yeah. And then you get the bishop out and get your rook on the c file.
Yeah, queen d2's been played, which is also not bad because you're going to try and get this. I mean, just in general, it's just if I get the bishop on to b7 afterwards and get some rooks out, you just sort of think, oh well, that's going to be easy. Queen d2. Yeah,
I mean, e1 as well, doesn't it? So
it hits rook on e1. So I mean, that's pretty good. We could. Yeah, no, it's an awkward move. It's an awkward move for white to face. So
white might go what queen's e1.
Maybe, but Yeah, I mean, you're going to be slow at getting this pawn. I think after d4, a move like knight c4 would have been quite nice, just to bring the knight into d6, for example. You know, that would have been a better idea, I think. Or we could have gone maybe maybe queen d3 to go knight c2. You know, that sort of stuff. But yeah, no, queen d2 is quite sharp. But yeah, no, I think it's probably pretty good, I think. Let's have a look. Then we've got Steph Kurtz. Steph Kurtz. Can we see Steph Kurtz? I don't see Steph Kurtz. Oh, yes, I do. Oh, that game's finished already. Oh, good lord.
Okay.
So that's Ecole, Mega Sunshine. Oh, what a nice name. Won the game here. Obviously, king and queen giving mate there. And then we've got, to finish that off, we've got Deepa Kambatu. And there, white has finished already. A nice queen and rook mate there in the end. So, no, it's a very good job. Shall we go once again through the under eights? Because I think they're probably going to finish reasonably quickly.
Do a quick run through that.
So it was Patrick 2012. So what has actually happened here? Well, this has gone all completely crazy. So white has won a piece here, which is very good for a pawn only. So white looking very, very good here. One thing you've got to watch out for, I mean, black's got the two bishops here. So there could be, you know, some play. And also this pawn on g3 is really restricting this white king. So that's really, yeah, I mean, that's quite... that could be a little bit tricky. D5 feels a little bit loosening to me somehow. Not to say that it's bad or anything, but it's just in these types of positions, I do prefer to try and keep my position together, you know, and hold it together, maybe develop some more pieces like a knight f4. You know, this pawn on d4, that's covering all these dark squares on this diagonal. So when I go d5, then my bishop gets a bit of activity here. You know, it's not to say that this is bad at all, d5, but it's a loosening move. It just makes me a little bit nervous. You know, maybe black can play bishop g4 here and have some threats like bishop takes f3 or bishop c5 check. You know, and white's going to have to work a little bit harder there. So I think still a little bit of play in this one, but obviously going pretty well for white there. Now let's have a look at Demian. Where is Demian? Against New White Baseball. So black's played it pretty well there. Playing f6 and f5 now. So what is white going to do here? Probably white should play a move like rook e1. Try to get some pressure on the e file. And probably black's going to play rook e8 just to deal with that. Black's wasted a little bit of time, I suppose, with the old queen b6. There, I think f5 would have been better in principle, but still looking quite nice for black. I think a lot of weak pawns really for white there. So it's I think the only thing you've got to watch out here with black is that you don't get the white queen coming to this diagonal and embarrassing the king there. But we've got some squares on h7 like this, so we should probably be fine from that point of view. Luca, chess. How did this happen? Bishop d7, rook d1, b6. I think black was probably a little bit afraid of this d5 and c5 plan. Now, it would have been quite interesting actually just to take on here because with these with the knight attacking the pawn on c7, the queen can't move away very easily. So I think d takes c5 would have been pretty strong here. But white went bishop g5 first of all, bishop h4, g5, bishop g3, knight h7, and now took on e5. Knight takes. Yeah, you could have considered really taking with a bishop, you know, because this bishop on g7 is not such a great piece anymore. Bishop g4, exploiting that pin. Bishop takes d7, knight takes d7. So this is a pretty nice position for white, I have to say. and white playing it very simply here. I would have been tempted actually, maybe to throw in a move like c5. I mean, just to start off with something. I mean, I could have played rook d7 here. Oops, good lord. Let's get a. I could have played rook takes d7 here, and after knight d7, rook d1, and this would actually have won 2 pieces for the rook. So that would have been a bit better. After knight d7, I'm kind of tempted to go c5 here. The idea being to try and force b takes c5, and then we don't have this maneuver knight e6 to c5, because after rook d2, black's going queen c8, and if we go rook d1, then black will go knight c5 and threaten knight e6 to d4 later. So it might have been nice to play a move like c5. I think white's probably a little bit better there, but obviously could have had a lot more with that rook takes d7 move. Let's have a quick look at Sausage. Oh, Sausage 88 has lost to Ninja Pawn. Yes, we saw that. Black was a rook down, and white was a rook down rather, and didn't manage to save that one. Having fun time. Was a pawn up? Oh, but it's now a piece down. Oh, good lord, yes. I wondered about this one actually. So black played the move queen e5, and white missed the threat somehow. Oops, good lord. Because after rook fd1, black played queen takes g3, and there's this pin on here. Now, unfortunately, white didn't see the reply queen takes c5, which would actually have kept white's extra pawn, because after b takes c5, f takes g3. So, white tried d4, which was very sensible, but unfortunately got pinned by the queen. And
that is unlucky, isn't it? Yeah.
That is unlucky. And after g3, queen e4, yeah, there was nothing to be done, just a piece down there. So a little bit of an unlucky tactic there for having fun time. Now let's
I have just found my favourite name in the entire tournament in the under 10 section. It's absolutely fantastic. Board. It's black on board. Get back to the under 10s. Black on board 8, and the real name is You Rock.
Ha!
That's not the chess.com name, that's the real name.
Oh, right, okay. Let's have a look. Board 8. So it's that's white's Code Flying Sword, which I don't actually see on there. So let me just go about it the manual way.
Okay. Then You Rock's chess.com name is Fork Powers.
Fork Powers, wow. It's no, I'm not getting. Is he actually playing? Or
I don't know. They might be finished.
Okay, I'm not actually getting anything back for that one. So
yes.
Let's have a look.
Know him. Yes, yeah, it's a wonderful name. Nice boy as well. Then I don't know him. Thank you, Iko, lovely. So yeah, on the. Are we ready to move to the under 10s?
Just finish off, go through the last. This is looking. Oh, well. Oh, there's a queen gone. Sorry. I was saying, oh dear, white. Oh, but this is mate. This is mate. Good lord, look at that mate. King d7. We've got rook f7 with mate. The knight on b5, stopping the king from escaping. My goodness. Just in time for that one.
Queen, but delivered mate.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. Let's just go for Glad Rainy Umbrella against Cute Teeny Cold. Oh, Cute Teeny Cold has done a big tactic there. Look.
Yes, look at that. That's a nice trick.
Queen takes d4, then rook c1 is going to be back rank mate. So that's going to be. It's like Cute Teeny Cold is going to come away with a win there. Then we've got. Let's have a quick look again at Steph Kurtz. Do we have him somewhere? I'm sure I'd seen him
yes.
Yeah, he'd lost that one already, and I think the other one was finished as well. Yeah. Okay, so now we can go for the under 10s.
Yes, and board 1 will be familiar to us because he was on the stream yesterday. After his game, he came on live to the stream, and that is Theo Cowrie. So
that's right.
yes, he's playing black.
Jam. So let's have a look. So White's played a sort of...
And actually, he's a point ahead, a point clear in this tournament. So it's looking
okay.
Looking good for him.
Playing Frederick the Mate. So so that's quite a complicated position. This, I suppose, White's a little better, maybe. A bishop b5 Sicilian. White's managed to get pawns e4 d5. It's really all going to depend. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things here. I mean, there's the pressure along this diagonal. So, for example, knight h5 is a threat, hitting the bishop on f4 and attacking the pawn on c3, because the bishop on g7 and pawn on b4 combine against the pawn on c3. The other thing that's interesting, possible always, is this break e6. Just to try and get the rook active opposite the queen. The big question mark about that is, well, first of all, there was a bishop on f4, but now White's combined knight on c4 on d1, so that's pretty much out of the question. An interesting idea is whether, can we go knight h5 here with this tactic? If we go knight h5, then
bishop drops back. So which way? Maybe h2 if you want to keep.
Well, d2, I think, to protect c3. I think. And then Black might play a move like a5, maybe, just to go bishop a6. That's a possibility. I mean, you've also got, well, if the bishop's dropping back, you can start thinking about playing e6 in this position. This is very, very sharp. If we go g4 to chase the knight back, we'll go ed, and this really comes into its own. So e6. Maybe d takes c6, rook e6. It's quite dangerous, this. A very sharp position. Because I think, again, if you try anything like this, because this could be, well, I mean, e4 is also very weak. So actually, thinking about it in general, I think Black's got chances. I think, the d5 break and the rook being opposite the queen is going to be quite dangerous. So okay, Black's gone knight b6. Which is also a very reasonable move, just to exchange off a good knight on c4 there, and keeping this knight h5 threat in reserve. That's also very decent indeed. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm always. This looks a little bit like a sort of position I'd play in a sort of a declined Benko or something like this, and I'm always assuming that White's slightly better, but it's probably not very much at all. It's probably just a complicated position. So let's have. Oh, Patrick is now. Oh, good lord! Let's have a look. Minor piece up, but a pawn down. Just Wolf DB pointed out what's happening here on the top board of the under eights. Yeah, Black's done pretty well here. Now, I'm not sure. We're attacking this bishop on c6. Do I need to be worried about rook h4? I mean, it's possible I might need to go here and after rook h4 to block with a knight on h3. Ooh, that's not very... I mean, White's the one thing...
What happens if you just go bishop d5? Does something bad happen to you?
I was wondering about it because so you go bishop d5, I'll go rook check, king there, and let's say rook check. So if king f3, I go rook h1 and actually pick up the. So I mean, you have to go king there, and then I can go something maybe like, I don't know, bishop somewhere. I was kind of getting a bit wondering, but maybe we should go bishop g2 then. That might be cleverer. That would be clever indeed. So maybe I should go back to f1 like this. Bishop takes g1, king g1 is not going to be. It's not going to be that amazing for Black. And I suppose if we get in bishop g2 and we can block out the rook that way, that might be better. Yeah, that would probably be better, actually. That would probably be better. If we can do this, felt a little bit risky, but no, I think it's probably quite good. Bishop d4, bishop g2, this important resource. Bishop d5, Well done, Patrick. Great minds think alike. So, okay, exciting. Let's have a look at some more games. Mojo 910. Where is Mojo 910? Do we have Mojo 910 here? Can I see Mojo 910? Yes, down there. White here. Oh, quite a sharp position. It was an exchange French, but somehow it turned out a little bit sharp, this one. I'm a little bit nervous from the black point of view because I have a feeling that my pieces are collapsing here, but my central pieces. So
okay. What about that pawn on g5 though? That looks quite
well. Okay, but it's white's move. So c takes d5. Where is that knight going to go? B4 maybe.
Yeah.
So I want to go. I mean, I can do two things. I could go h4, and I've got this threat of knight e5, which is worrying me. I could be very brave and go knight e5 immediately. And after queen takes g5, I could try h4 maybe. I just want to take this one.
Take on e4. Yeah.
That is a little bit nerve-wracking, obviously, because we've got some tricks there and rook d8, d6. So. But I'm not 100% convinced that that's good. But I think h4 would be sensible, and then we're just gonna, we're gonna play knight e5 at some stage. Maybe go bishop d6. I go queen b3. I'm not sure. I'm a little bit. Well, maybe I'm being too pessimistic there. This pawn is quite weak.
Yeah. Could try and open it up as well with like h6.
Yeah, it feels so loose for black, this whole thing, but it's not clear. I mean, takes here. Yeah, because at h4 you go bishop d6, and I could go knight e5 in that position. You might be. I mean, I don't think f3 is actually that dangerous. I think I just take it.
Yeah, I see. So the knight on b4 is now looking.
Yeah, it's a little bit. I don't know. I'm a little bit worried that I'm. I need to have dramatic stuff, basically, to make this happen. And I'm not, maybe knight g5. I don't know. And then, but I'm not 100% convinced that this is really working. So it's a bit of a sharp one. This one, it's. I'm not sure at all about that one for white, for black rather. Let's have a look. Open sesame. Actually, shall I close? I'm going to close a few of these ones.
Yeah, close the ones that are finished, and then.
Yeah, because having fun time, we saw Glad Rainy, Uncutely Cold, Mega Sunshine, and I come back to. There we are. So, what do we have? We had Open Sesame. That's what we want to see. Here we are. Board 2 of the under 10s. That's right, isn't it, Natasha?
That's right.
So, well, we've got a sort of a Carlsbad pawn structure here. White's doing quite nicely, lining up on here. This knight is slightly misplaced on c6. Normally, you'd want to have a pawn on there. The only thing that black has got going for him here, knight b7 is threatened. You could consider going all in with f4, or maybe go bishop c8 first, protect the pawn on b7, and then go f4. I'm sort of wondering how dangerous is f4? Is that f4, knight b7, something like f3?
Oh yeah, definitely go for it.
It's quite not certainly not stupid. Bishop h3. I mean, queen g5 here, queen h5. Whoa.
You never know. Could be checkmate very soon.
It could be. No, this is. I mean, we got.
What if the knight takes? Oh, if the knight takes on e6.
No,
yeah,
that one's fine. I mean, you could go rook e1 to meet queen h3, but then I go bishop h3, and I want to go bishop g2.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably. I mean, if you put the engine on it, it's sort of. it sort of shows you that it's not. But it's quite. It's not. I mean, you don't need to give away everything, right? I mean, you could also just go rook e8 and then just sidestep that one, or go f3, knight d8, and for example take with a knight or something. You know, I mean, you can also do that. It's speculative, but it's definitely definitely could be quite dangerous. Yeah, practical chances. Otherwise, bishop c8 is possible. The only thing I was thinking about then was that white can play a move like knight e2 and consolidate, you know, and also have some threats like knight a6 because this one would be undefended. So yeah, I don't know. That's quite an interesting one. Definitely worth keeping in touch with. Let's have a look. AGL 20 against Master Angad. That's Angad Sapoda. We've got an Italian game, just like they played on the top board of the championship yesterday.
Peter Finn against Michael Adams. Indeed,
Michael Adams winning a very smooth game. I think you have to say that was typically impressive from Mckay. I like white here actually. Got some weak pawns here. We can also give black another set of weak pawns there. So yeah, no, I do quite like white here. I think this is going to be quite a difficult position for black to hold. Going to get lots of weak pawns. I think knight e5 be an idea. I'm actually wondering though whether you could just play a move like queen e2 then. A knight e5 played actually, queen e2, and then just we're just going to go for this actually, and we're just going to claim that this knight is you know is going to annoy this bishop. Oops, sorry, g5 to defend. Maybe we go king g2 and h4. We go d4. It looks quite pleasant for white. I don't know whether there's anything else that we could do. Something more dramatic.
Yeah.
Knight h2 is not stupid actually. I mean, I'm threatening knight f4, and if you go f3, I can go d4 in this position. So obviously fg, I can take on e5. If you go queen g6 or queen g5, well, queen g6, I've got knight e7. If you go,
you can't do g5 either. So it's not queen g5. Pawn to g5 to defend f4.
Exactly. I mean, queen g5, I go. Yeah, queen g5, I go g3 here, which I think you know is going to be fine. The knight will have to retreat. I'll take on f3. If queen h5, I can just go knight f4 actually and cover everything, and then take the knight. And indeed, as Natasha said, g5 allows knight f6 check. So yeah, that might have been even better actually. Knight h2. Just no need for panic. Just d4 coming in, block these pieces out, and then line up on this pawn. I think white should be better in this position. Knight 102 030. Let's have a look. Oh, double pawns on both sides. Yeah, in principle, I'd prefer white in this position, I think. Just these, well, you've got a pass pawn already. And, well, these are doubled, so that's a lovely square for the knight on f4. But I would have thought that you could, you know, get your pieces in and get outposts. These are quite weak as well. I think white's a little bit for choice. It's not. It's you know. It's probably towards equal somehow. But I think that white is for choice there. Just because you know, it's just always better to have a. Oh,
do we have a result?
We have a result, but I don't understand that one. Bishop c8, rook e1 resigns.
Resigns.
Yeah. So I wonder whether something's gone. Maybe it could be disconnection. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. That it doesn't make any sense.
You wouldn't need to resign this. This is
no. It doesn't make any sense from the chess point of view. There does it. So oh, just seen that. Oh, wasn't that where? Didn't I say we had mate in?
Oh, there was a mate in one, wasn't there?
Oh no! Because sorry, Black played bishop e8 here, so
Okay.
Black saw that, but then after rook e6, White started taking an awful lot of pieces. But HB Harry Bryant has won that game. Yeah, and this one's a bit mysterious. Don't quite understand what happened there. It might be a disconnection. Maybe something else has gone wrong. But anyway, that looks like Open Sesame 11 has won that game. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. We've got some more players playing some more games there. So Andrei Ivanov. Here we are. Now, this is looking, in principle, looks good for Black, as long as everything's working. I mean, we've got a very nice setup here. However, we have knight e6, attacking f8 and attacking g7. So rook f7 is kind of forced here. And now we're going to get a few tactics here, because we could have a good old rook d1. Now, if the queen moves away, then we get rook f8, a rook d8 check rather. So rook d3 is absolutely forced there. And now the question is, do we have anything? Do we have any dramatic? Do we have a Tristan Cox sort of,
Knight
brilliancy
h8.
here?
For anyone who didn't see that last night, there was this dramatic move. Tristan Cox is
Rock
out
roll.
in Tristan Cox living out in Vietnam and was playing at 3 a.m. and he found this crazy looking move, knight h8, to finish his attack. It was an absolutely stunning move.
Yeah, real classic. It was, and he also told us why his name Rock Troll, how that came about. But you'll have to watch the stream to find that piece of, to hear that piece of vital knowledge. So now this is actually looking quite good for Black. I don't see a way for White to exploit any of this. Rook takes. I mean, the problem is that any knight move away is actually releasing pressure against g7. So you're not really, and I could take on there, but then I'm going to go queen takes g2, takes, and I'm going to end up with well, with an extra pawn, you know, and quite a good one as well. So I'd imagine, I mean, at the very least, Black is better in this position. Shamshank. Sounds like Sam Shankland.
It does sound like Sam Shankland.
The American gem. But this is Shambhavi Hariharan. So how's this happening? Equal pawns.
Yeah, White has sensibly blockaded that pawn on e4, because if that moves, then the whole diagonal from g2 looks weak. It is blockaded with a queen, though, so it is a big piece that's keeping that pawn at bay.
Yeah, and I'd expect White to play a move like rook d4, rook d1 now, and start harassing the queen. And then at some stage, you're going to move this knight f1 round to e3 to take over the role of the queen. I think, you know, White's looking very good here. White's very entrenched on all its squares. Very hard to shift White, basically. And of course, you know, as long as this pawn is here, this this bishop can't get active. So I think after a move like rook d4, maybe play rook d1 to d2 just to cover f2 and also b2 as well. And then yeah, I think this is going to be very very unpleasant for Black. Now let's have a look. What else have we got here? The next one was Code Flying Sword, but we didn't. Oh yeah, there he is against Fork Powers. Let's have a look. Fork Powers. Maybe has Fork Powers played a fork already? Well, discovered attack looks like Queen a4, played knight takes d4 there, and has actually two pawns up in this position with a bishop. So this is looking very, very good for.
Looking good for you, Rock.
Wow. Millennium Haldia. I've seen Millennium Haldia. Where is Millennium Haldia? Sorry, looking at my screen there. Millennium Haldia. No, he seems to have disappeared from my screen. Maybe we'll come across him later, or maybe he has already finished. And then we are going to look at Charlie Sheffel. Charlie Sheffel, do we have him? I don't seem to have any more. So we might be coming to some games that have actually finished there. Eden Hazard, this was one of the first games to start. They started about 8 or 9 minutes early.
Okay.
Eden Hazard, obviously a Chelsea fan, I would imagine.
Yes. And that is Max Pert, who is the son of Richard Pert and the brother of Nina Pert. We've seen a lot of times in our streams this week.
Fantastic. Against Kenneth Hobson. So let's have a look. What have we got here? 95. Black's a pawn up, right? Yeah, Black's a pawn up here. So 95 played. Now you're sort of tempted straight away by knight e3, but then white could take on e3 and then take on d7. So that's not going to be very good. So maybe we should just be playing a move like knight takes e5, playing f6 maybe, and get the king in and just try and make something of your extra pawn there. It looks like a good position for Black so far. Moonmaker. Dennis Dupree. Let's have a look. I can't find him on my list there, but
well, we saw Dennis on our stream yesterday. He won his game yesterday.
Let me just try a manual command, because it could be that I just didn't pick him up. Serve. Moonmaker. Are you there, Moonmaker? Oh, there he is. Sorry, I think I was missing him before. Moonmaker against Super Skewer. Very high rating Super Skewer. Now, this is a complicated old game. Look at that box. Look at those box pawns.
Oh, look at that.
I have truly very rarely seen something like that in yes, an amazing oh wait a minute, we've got to take a little I always like taking pictures of those little things like that. I mean, look at that box pawn there. Incredible. So now that's 7 pawns. So Black's got 2 pawns to the exchange. Very active pieces there. So it's looking quite a tough one for White at the moment. This one.
How might White try and break free here?
Just have a quick look at the opening there. Oh, it was this variation. This was an exchange French, but quite a sharp variation. This one, A6. Now Queen A4. I think they go Bishop A4. I've seen. I'm pretty sure Queen A4 is very sharp, grabbing that Rook on A8. But Black's obviously got a fair amount of compensation. The king has to move, and you get quite a few pawns here. So White's
meant to how these pawns materialized.
Oh, well, they materialized like this in actual fact, and then Black just moved them on. They played B4, B5, and then C5. So and now this pawn on B2 has gone. So it's looking like quite a tough position for White, because it's going to be very hard to avoid the exchange of queens. And of course, with the exchange of queens, these pawns, you've got a 4-to-1 majority on the queen side here, so, and a very compact one as well. So and Super Skewer's declined a draw just at this moment. So yeah, looking tough for White at the moment. But obviously, anything can happen. Yeah. As we have seen many times. Leo the Rex playing against Lego Children. What have we got here? So White played a sort of a Pillsbury setup here, but probably was just a little bit incautious there, just letting Black play the C5 break. So I'm sure you could have restrained it maybe a little bit better. But okay. No worries about that. We'll just have to see what we can do about it. I'd love to. I keep on thinking about breaks at e4, trying to persuade the queen to move away so we can play f5, but it's not going to work. Got to be a little bit careful as well, because we've got loads of weak light squares, and this rook is going to come down the c file if we're not careful. Just a little bit worried about white's position in general. Because this queen is really very good. It's doing an excellent job blockading. I wonder. I mean, I'm also worried a little bit about, that at some stage f6 will happen, and if this knight moves away, then well, we've lost the pride of our position. I wonder about a move like queen g5 actually. Just the idea is I'm trying to make sure that if queen takes g5, I take back with the f pawn, and then black's never going to get in f6. So so then my knight is safe on e5. That means I've always got one well-placed piece, so that might not be bad. And if black doesn't do that, well, I can take on f5 then. At least I'm ruining black's pawn structure. So that might not be a bad idea at all. I mean, I don't think you can really move away because I go f5 then. So that might be quite a decent move for black. I think black should probably, what can black do? I mean, black could play c4. And it's a bit of the question really, I suppose, whether would you maybe want to take first and then play this move, and after b takes c5 go I need to get my chess.com command again. Oop. Chess.com command, copy paste, finally work. Yeah, and maybe queen g5 now actually. That might be a good idea there. I'm not 100% who gained by swapping off pawns like that. The one good thing you can say though is that because there's no more pawn on there, for example, after something like c4, I could consider doing something like knight d7, and then I would get my knight round to c5 there, so which is a great blockading square. So I think if white plays this move queen g5, then oh, okay, white's taken on c5 and gone knight f3. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I'm just a little bit worried about my e3 square here. That's the only thing I'm worrying about. But white's aiming to go put the knight on d4. That's not bad at all. That is pretty decent as well. Let's see. Who else have we got? Who are we going through? We're going for. Is it the Fighting Nugget? I'm just trying to scroll here. We've got Acrid Leaf first of all. Acrid Leaf. I saw Acrid Leaf. Acrid Leaf against Powerful Wolf. Well, look at that. King on d8. That was actually a... black moved the king early, actually. Had to get out of a check. So, so the king's swerving a little bit. Complicated position, this.
And the white king has gone queenside.
Yeah, not 100% clear where this. You're always going to be. Ooh, I don't like that one very much, because that's going to give the knight on b4 a great square, and it's also going to make it. Quite easy eventually. I mean, I think white's going to go c3 and knight b4. I mean, I probably want to go knight c1 here, and then we're sure we're going to get a knight on b4 there, and that's going to be very difficult with the weaknesses on c6. I'm not happy about that last move at all. I think after knight c1, then I think white's got a fairly substantial advantage there. Obviously, still plenty of stuff to play for, but I think white the balance has switched towards white here. The Fighting Nugget. I don't see the Fighting Nugget. So let's go on to the next one. Palaroran, he was the very first to start against Alex Royal, Ron Pal, and well, look at this. Look at those pawns there. Is white a pawn up, actually? White is a pawn up. And he's certainly got, reason to be proud. Yeah, this is a huge advantage for white. E6 is threatening to win a piece already. So, looking very good for Rowan Paul there. Rubik's Cube 9. Rubik's Cube 9. where is Rubik's Cube 9? Well, I'm going to close a few of these finished games, and we're going to we will just see whether we get a few more people appearing. Rubik's Cube 9, I don't see Rubik's Cube 9, so it could be that Rubik's Cube 9 is finished already. Under 14s, Diamondaut.
Yeah, Diamondaut. Now we've seen a lot of Diamondaut. So an under 14 player also playing in the main event and had a very good game last night, wasn't it?
Indeed. I didn't see Diamondaut actually, so I'm just wondering whether Diamondaut has Diamondaut finished already. Can you see already whether he's played? I've got so many open windows here.
Yeah, I'll have a look as well.
It's kind of tricky to see. I'm peering down at the bottom of my screen, but I don't see Diamondaut. I actually thought I saw him before in my list, and he seems to have disappeared. Yeah, it was an amazing game yesterday against I am Amit Ghazi, and it looks like he was actually, I think he was actually winning for. Well, he's winning for quite a while, but I think he actually had force mate for one move, and then it all turned around. I mean, Amit was going for it full tilt, going for the win, no holding back. So it was one of those really. So yeah, he was willing to lose in order to try and win. But yeah, I mean, it was really quite an extraordinary game there, really.
Yeah, I'm not getting anything either for Diamondaut, so I assume.
Okay.
Finished.
ZHS 14, I can't see in my list either. So that one's not doing that well. Oh, Rubik's Cube 9, I mentioned I didn't see him. That was board 7 of the under 12s. I can see him now against Night Slasher. And what a shame it would have been to have missed out Rubik's Cube. Ruben Evans, because look at this great attack, Rook on B6.
Oh, yes.
Very nice move. Really blocking in the Queen. Queen coming in here, looking like a great attack. So sorry about that, Rubik's Cube 9. He declined a draw. He's declined several draws, actually. And I'm not surprised because it's looking completely winning for white there. Okay, we've got ZHS, who, again, I cannot see in my list. ZHS 14. Nightmares 13-14. I'm also not seeing Nightmares 13-14 there.
You managed to see any of the under 14s?
Not yet, no, not yet. I've got Penguin Torpedo. I mean, I want to see Penguin Torpedo, really. Yeah. I mean, but not clear at all. I've got a EC Blitz 08. Yeah, I'm not seeing these guys somehow. So I'm not quite sure what's happening there.
Maybe. I mean, I'll just
have a little look. I'll carry on with a few of the people I have. This was Maxime Lacou against Pavel Muravsky, and I think these were the under 16s, weren't they? I think.
Okay. Yeah.
So somehow the under 14s don't seem to have come through. It could be maybe my command didn't work, so I might try that one again.
Yeah, I've tried it manually as well, though, and I don't see it.
Okay. Well, apologies to the under 14s. If we can see a game, we will. But I think this is Maxime Lacou against Pavel Muravsky. That's the under 14s. We said under 16s. Is that right?
Yeah, we're just going with under 16s now. Yes.
Under 16. So Maxime Pamel. So well, probably black. I would say black should be a little bit better, really. Knight against this bishop restricted by these pawns. We can play a6 and open, and we should. Well, there's going to be a little fight on the king side as to who gets to open stuff. But I would really expect black to be able to make a little bit of something of this, although it's closer to equality than anything else. What a great name! Oh, we're onto the senior. I'm onto the seniors here now, actually.
Oh.
So. Let me just close this one because that's Deep Kambatu, who's already finished his game. I'm on to Crowthorne George. That's
that one.
George Green against Tim Harding, who is Hammature.
Yes.
And Amateur is really living up to his rather warlike name, because he is a pawn up. And look at those huge pawns on. He's 2 pawns up, actually, isn't he?
Yeah.
2 pawns up, and huge pawns on d5 to e6. So I think we're looking at a Tim Harding victory here, which will keep the
Really
scene alive.
wide open, because George was a point clear, I think.
Wow. Well, there we are. That's that's gone very, very well indeed for White. Then we've got Ed Goodwin against David Bray. So we've got another Jabava. This is a Jabava London system. Simon Williams has got a lot to answer for. Black playing very sensibly, very solidly. There's not really that much happening right now. I mean, I think White will look to go f3 and e4, or even f3 g4 maybe at some stage. Black should really be, I think, really trying to play a5 b4 and fight for the center in that way. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe White just a touch better here. I think I can see, because Black's played c4 quite early, I can see some plans for White just a little bit easier than plans for Black. But well, still a big fight on. Millennium Haldia. I've seen him. Millennium Haldia. Who is that? That is against Jung Ying Yong. He was he in the under 12s, or was he in the under 14s?
Board 9 of
of the under 10s, I think.
10s, yeah.
Yeah, so unfortunately he seems to be a knight down here. So offered a draw but refused, of course, and it looks like Black is going to win this one. Knight f2 would be very strong, picking up the e4 pawn. Knight c5 forks 2 pawns. So indeed, Knight c5. So it looks like White is going to win there. Black is going to win there, rather. Alan Gregg against Brian Gosling.
Okay. This is what, over 65s?
Over 65s. Well, Black doing very nicely here.
Queen a7. Okay. Yeah, just have to.
Yeah, the rook's protected there with a knight. So Black actually doing very well here. Got a lovely backward pawn to attack, and this bishop on h2 is really locked out for now. I mean, these pawns are very good. c6, b5 stops a knight coming to any sort of good square. So yeah, I mean, I think Black's going to try and maybe move the bishop around here. Maybe get the knight active as well. Rook d1, fair enough, but I'm just going to go knight f7, and you're going to have to go rook a1 after. So I think Black is White's panicking a little bit there.
Yeah, it must be. It's unpleasant for White to play, isn't it? There's not.
It's very unpleasant. Yeah, I mean, I think it's now you've given White a few tempi now, so I'm rather fearing that. Let me just get a analysis board up, that you're even too slow to prevent the loss of a pawn, actually. Because,
maybe you could just try and counterattack.
Yeah, bishop f8 now.
Yeah.
And whatever you do, I'm going to go bishop c5 to d4. So I'm afraid this one's looking rather grim. And I mean, you don't. Yeah. Bishop g4, I mean, it's possible, but I mean, if I just, it's just your pieces are not that great. So I mean, I could just take, I mean, f5 is also not stupid, just to do this. And if bishop f3, I might just go knight g5. I'm threatening knight takes f3 there. I have the bad feeling that everything that you're doing here is just making your position much worse. So I think that's going to be quite problematic for White there. Let's have a look. Then we've got Mariner 235 against Spudlova, who we thought was the Russian women's player Spudlova. So that looks like Pete Morris, and this is a complicated one. Another exchange French, funnily enough, but quite a complicated position here. So Black's knight on a5. Is it offside, or is it going to come through triumphantly later? Pawn on d4, maybe a bit weak, but white's got this good knight on b5, attacking the bishop, eyeing an outpost on d6. Pawn on f4 advanced, but on the other hand, it's blocking this diagonal. Blocking this diagonal, and also now there's some weaknesses, obviously light squared weaknesses that you create when you move your f pawn up. So a very tense, very sharp position here, and I'm not at all sure what the correct evaluation is. Just trying to. I mean, I've got a sneaking suspicion that white is better here, and that all black's activity is not quite hanging together, if you see what I mean. But I'm not 100% convinced about that. I mean, it is also the type of position where you might just have a tactic and the whole world changes.
Yeah. I was looking about how to get your queen into f5 or something like that, but you can't move it because the bishop on e2 is on.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that what I'm actually thinking is that, white could even play a move eventually like bishop f1, because after bishop f3, gf3, that pawn on f4 really does block, most of your attacks from coming through. So it's not at all obvious that you'll be able to get through like that. I mean, maybe black should just play a move like bishop b8, get out of this attack. And I mean, the ironic thing is that when you unprotect the rook, you start getting some discovered attacks, because rook takes a8 doesn't hit the queen. So you might be able to get some extra little tactics like that. And yeah, I mean, white's got to. Black's played bishop b8 actually, so white's got to work out a little bit how he's going to do stuff, where he's going to put his pieces. I mean, rook a3 does seem tempting, putting the rook on a protected square, and also covering this this knight. That would be my blitz instinct, simply to put a rook on a protected square, cover f3 so the bishop can move away without any sort of problem. And then just wait to see what black's going to come up with. That might be sensible. Yeah. I mean, black could play a move like bishop g6. Let me get the analysis board up. Could play a move like bishop g6 and then plonk this bishop onto e4. Wait a minute. Bishop g6, bishop d3. There's knight b4, actually.
Oh.
That is unpleasant. So after bishop g6, we could play a move like... I actually wanted to play queen a2, but we're getting hit by knight b4. Could that be awkward? Queen d2? Could maybe throw in a knight c4. Bishop takes c4, rook a3. Yeah, I don't know. Bishop a3 takes d5. It's a wild old position, this one. I do have. I mean, my feeling is that white's better. That black's really playing for tricks, and that white's position is better. But there are quite a few tricks. So I think there's going to be quite an interesting line there. Marshall 007 against Chess Enigmas. Equal pawns, but white is clearly better here. Weak pawns, and we're going to have at some stage e4 just to chase away the knight. So I'd expect white to be substantially better here. Pete Leonard against Jeff Stewart. Oh, white doing very nicely. Nabbed the pawn on a7 there, and not much really that black can do about it. How's black going to do this? I mean, you've got some counterplay with rook c4. Might be worth also throwing an h5 in just to try and get a bit of a stable square for the bishop, because it's always annoying having these two, because your kings, you should have an escape square, but your king doesn't. So I mean, h5 does seem quite tempting, and then just to see what white's going to do. I mean, does white dare to give you a h3 and then hg when the queen might come in here, or is white going to play a move like g5 when you get the bishop to f5? You know, that could be quite decent, I think. Yeah, I mean, I think, but in general, you know, white should be better there, I think. Board in Flame.
So that's Remy Tayo, and he is playing against Clive Frostick on board 1 of the over 50s.
Okay.
Clive has 4 points. Remy has 3. So Clive's a point. Oh, Clive is half a point actually ahead of Rob Wilmoth and Tim Kett, but he's played both of those ones.
Okay, and they're playing for a big trophy, aren't they, Natasha?
The over 50s. Yes, there's a trophy, I think, for the over 50s.
And also the over 65s as well?
And over 65s is the Julian Farrand trophy.
Fantastic. And worth mentioning again that, yeah, I mean, that's Julian Farrand was a well-loved figure in British chess. And,
yes, and he was also the husband of Lady Hale, who is famous for, I think it's the you know, when Boris was proroguing Parliament and she was saying whether that was legal or not, and saying it wasn't legal. So that Lady Hale was the wife of Julian Farrand, and Julian Farrand, very, very nice guy, played for Cavendish in London League, and also did lots of work for the ECF.
Yes, he was a very popular figure. So it's lovely that his memory is being commemorated like that in a British Championship tournament. So now let's
we'll mention the other ones while we're talking about that. There's also the John Naylor Cup for the Major Open tournament, and also the Nick Mitchum Cup for the under 2000s, and both of those are going on at the moment as well.
So John Naylor, can you tell us a little bit about John Naylor, Natasha?
John Naylor, a lovely guy. I've known him. We used to play against each other in the under 18s events way back. Always very, very, very nice. Is it like whether he win or whether he lose, he'd be very sociable, chat to you after the game, and do a post-mortem. Played crazy chess as well. I think me and him both were playing Gambits, and so I had many games against him, and some I'd win and some I'd lose, and then yeah, he's always been just a very friendly guy.
It's and Nick Mitchum.
And Nick Mitchum, he again very nice player, young guy. I think he passed away this year in his 40s. Good chess player. I also knew him through. He used to go to the pub quizzes. Very good at general knowledge.
Okay.
And there was a team that was led by Gavin Wall. Used to run a team in the Richmond area, and Nick Mitchum and Richard Bates all went along, and I sometimes went along to those, although I never knew quite enough. I'd just do the anagram questions, and the rest of them would know all the general knowledge. But again, very friendly guy, and always have something to say if you're having a bad tournament or something. He was just sort of very cheerful and could pick you up.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Natasha. So now we're going back to the to this game, and White's having a think, and you can understand why, because Black's just played this move knight d3, blocking the d file, and yeah, I mean, it's not at all obvious what White should do here. I mean, there's a few awkward things. I mean, bishop b4 is an awkward threat. Bishop f6 is also irritating. You've also got stuff like knight takes e5, ideas with knight takes e5, knight takes e5, followed by bishop f6 afterwards, and this b2 pawn is hanging. So yeah, a lot of things for White to mull over there. I'm trying to think what I want to do. I mean, maybe I should just go play a move like bishop d4 here. Just line this up, keep it solid, and then wait to see what Black's going to come up with. Yeah, I don't know whether f6 is going to happen. We just want to try and chase it, because in some ways, you'd really want this. Yeah, in some ways you want it. In other ways, I'm not sure. Because it's of course this pawn on d3 is a clear weakness. But
both sides here have a passed d pawn.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a very unclear position this one. But I don't think Black's doing badly at all. So I mean, bishop d4. We could even just maybe we could play bishop b4 first, and then go maybe a move like f6, just chase the knight away, and if takes, we take. And I can also take on the e5 afterwards. Tricky one for white here. I think I can't. I'm not seeing a great continuation. So it could well be that Black's just absolutely fine here, and the white's got to be a little bit careful. I could throw in bishop b6 to block, but then queen d6. No, that might be better. I could go here and bishop to d4. That could be interesting, just to not allow a bishop b4 anymore. And then if knight takes e5, I've got bishop takes e5, and I'm a lot more active. That might be interesting as well. A move like bishop b6. Yeah, plenty of possibilities there. It's probably quite balanced. Let's have a look. Shamshank.
Oh gosh, that one's.
Ended in a black win for Skew Begun. Andrei Ivanov lost to Awesome Break. We've got another result here, a mate here on the board. And let me just, there was a draw there.
Okay, so Andrei Ivanov was playing Bharath Jayakumar, who won that game.
Okay, this is board 2 in the under 8s, this one, Demian 777. Draw here in a rather interesting position.
Yeah, so under 8, board 2 is Oleg Verbietsky against Luke Wang.
Oh, I'm just seeing actually that Denis Dupuis. Sorry, I've got a colleague at work called Daniel Dupuis. So just Dennis was, but Dennis.
Interesting pawn structure.
That's right, Dennis Dupuis. He actually lost this in the end to Super Skewer. It was looking quite dangerous. These pawns really were going to start rolling, and they just proved a little bit too much in the end. So hard luck, Dennis. But well played, Black.
Yeah. How about Max Pert?
Max Pert, that was Eden Hazard, wasn't it?
Yes.
Now, I'm not sure. I don't see his game anymore. So I think that's disappeared. So that might be a result there.
Yeah. Yeah, the results aren't up yet on this site.
Let's have a look. What is Rob Wilmot doing? Playing Hair Doctor. And Rob is going for it. Shall I just swap the board round?
Yeah.
There we are. That's nicer. Queen f6 now. Now, the question is, does Rob have a win? Or is it going to... well, I mean, Rob has definitely got...
he's got a check.
He's got a check. He's got a few checks. Oh, good Lord. Why do you keep on turning the board around? So queen check here. King there. Queen h8 check. King e7. And queen a8.
Has no one ever told Rob he should castle his king?
Well, he's a chess coach, so it's really Rob. So let's have a look. Well, what have we got? Well, we've got all sorts of moves here. Rook f2 is one move. Bishop c3 is the sort of the obvious way to start, I think. So where are we going to go? I tell you, I'm a bit nervous here with white.
D1.
You want to go to d1?
No, you can't. Queen d4 check.
Queen d4 check. I mean, king f1, I go rook f2.
Yeah.
King there, and I'll go bishop d4. And I've got the bad feeling that there's going to be a massive discovered check coming your way.
Okay.
So
you can't castle because you're in check.
No, indeed. We can try it if you like, but it's hard to get away with illegal moves
on the website. It's not going to let you. In real life chess, you could give it a go.
Because you have to, you can sort of think you'd have to move your king anyway. I mean, takes is maybe, but this is not going to work, is it? I can't believe it. King F1, I've got Queen A1 simply. I mean, maybe. I think you haven't got actually any real checks, have you? I'm just going to check and come here and just. You're not going to have anything at all. So
White doesn't have to go into this at all.
Well, no, but it's a bit of a shame, really. I mean, because then you've done all this fancy stuff for bishop takes f6 now, for example, knight f3, and and black's absolutely fine, of course. It's just an equal position. So I mean that's all possible, of course. But this was really what you would want to do with White, but it doesn't seem advisable.
It looks like you're winning a rook, but the counterattack is just too powerful.
It's too strong indeed. We got Timket. So Netley against Timket. I think I'll maybe swap the board around. It's always nice to look at it with White from the bottom there. Well, a bit of a sharp position, this one. Equal material. White attacking f7, and has also got some ideas of attacking h7. But black's got a good square on d5 for the knight, and a weak pawn on d4 to attack. Also, a2 is a bit loose. So, I mean, plenty to play for both sides. I'm wondering what can... It's always the question, what can black get away with? That's always the... I mean, a move like queen c2 is incredibly sensible. I mean, I'm covering h7 there. Let's get an analysis board up. I mean, if I'm, again, if it's sort of your blitz reaction, just to keep everything safe, cover h7, knight f7 will just be met by... well, I was going to say queen g6 simply, but actually I can go queen b3 in that case and attack this knight. So
well played, Patrick.
Hey, well played. I mean, I could have a rook c2 here. I'm not sure. I mean, the self pin, maybe knight d5 is going to be quite strong. I'm not a fan of this self pin. Put it that way. I do sort of think that that black's going to be able to do something. But I'm kind of wondering quite how. So I mean, just get some easy things out of the way. I mean, rook c7 allows knight h6 checks. We can't do that. Queen c7. We will simply go queen b3 in that case, and rook f7 allows queen b4. So white's just a pawn up. Queen g6, which is I quite liked. Well, we've got all sorts of moves actually. I mean, I could even go queen b7 here because rook f7 allows queen c8. I mean, I could go rook b8, and I keep on attacking the rook. This is quite complicated.
6.
Yeah, I can go queen c7 then. This is quite complicated. It's just not quite. That's much more complicated than I'd realised. I thought this was going to be a nice, safe way of playing, actually. So, thing is, if I White wants to play. Next move is going to be queen e4. That's going to be so. If I play a move like I don't know, knight a2, queen e4, g6, queen h4, h5, knight e4. Which feels a little bit. I'm not too happy about allowing that if I can avoid it. So I really would like to. To try and get my queen back into play, but this one's puzzlingly difficult. And if I go knight d5, which was I also thought was a possibility, we could go queen g4 here.
Okay, and if we take on.
Well, if you take on f7, I'm going to go queen here and fork these three.
All of them. All of them at the same time.
All of them. all of them, which is oh no, wait a minute, then it's not
Oh,
forked, actually.
Rook F8 though.
I've got knight f4 there because I'm actually covering all of them, and rook f4 allows queen d1. So that is actually not true what I'm saying. I mean, I was actually this is actually also possible.
Yeah.
And it's actually quite nasty, I think. King there, I've got queen check, and king e7, I'll have queen g7. So I think that is actually quite nasty, unless there's some spectacular possibility. But since we got queen g7 check, then I don't think we're going to be able to do that. So queen g4, and the point is I'm threatening knight h6. I could maybe go knight e3 here. So after knight h6, I go king h8.
And everything's forked.
Everything is forked. Absolutely everything.
Yeah, including if the queen moves, there's a mate on g2.
Yeah, I think that looks quite good for black, doesn't it? I think this is working.
Definitely.
Amazing, but so I mean that's yeah, that feels like a lot of work, to be honest, for a line I thought was going to be completely safe. But if it works, then I think you know it's a nice idea, because you keep all of your advantages, you know, good square, weak pawns, everything, but you just make sure that your queen's there to stop any funny business. So I mean, we'll have a look. What did Tim play? Queen c2. Yeah, that's a sensible idea. And now I suppose that well, I'll put knight f7 in as a guess, but I think it's a bit it's probably a bit on the banana side. I mean, the other idea that you could play with white, but again, you know, if you go queen c2, knight f7, knight d5, you could play something like queen h5 there. But again, I'm sort of thinking knight e3 here, and I think that this is going to
again.
I think this is going to work again. I'm just wondering whether could we be unbelievably cunning in some way.
Knight check.
Well, I'll just take that. I mean, I'm threatening queens. I am actually threatening queen c7 here, so which will, or queen g6 even, which will pick up a piece. So I don't actually have much time to do it. No, I don't see it. I mean, maybe I'm blind, but I don't see it. So I think queen c2 was indeed a very good move there. Oh, Diamondaut! Good lord, Diamondaut! He was there at the bottom.
Let's see how Diamondaut's doing.
So
Diamondaut scored one of the under 14s, if I remember right.
indeed.
One.
Now, wait a minute. Isn't he just winning a whole rook or more? I think he is here. I think we've either got bishop takes e4 here, or bishop takes b8, or both, in actual fact. So
Take on e4 first.
yeah, well, bishop b8 is fine too. That's what Diamondaut has played. But I would have taken on e4, to be honest. But this is also very, very good, of course. So white will rook up and should be cruising to victory there. So just because his name is so great, Penguin Torpedo. Oh, they agreed a draw in this position with King of Knights. 5-5. Yeah, I guess. Well, yeah. I mean, bishop c7. Black's maybe going to castle queenside if you just move the queen back. I don't know. It's still a reasonable amount of play in this one. You know, it's quite an unclear position. I think queen g3.
Yeah.
Attack g6, get the rook into c1 or something afterwards.
Yeah, because if you castle long, then rook c1 is.
Yeah, it's very dangerous there. So if you go something like e5 now, then I go rook c1. I stop you from castling, and you know,
take on g6 at your leisure.
Yeah, you know, the game goes on there. So yeah, I mean, I think that was quite an interesting one there. But who have we got here? We've got Staki Sedic against Duckling 234. I'm not quite sure where in which.
Say the name. Say the white's name again.
Stacky, Stakhey.
Yes.
Now this is looking quite. This is looking good for black. Rook behind the pawn, the white rook in front of it, and the king active. So we're going to get king b4. The pawn's going to move round to a3. Going to be a bit of a toughie for white. This one looking very strong. Okay, let me just. Oh, Hideous Hog, Aardvark CYA against Hideous Hog. Who was Hideous Hog?
He's in the seniors, isn't he?
Indeed. Who was Hideous Hog? It was a great.
Well, the Hideous Hog I know is a famous character in a bridge book. So
that's right.
A bridge book, and all the characters have names which reflect their play. So Hideous Hog liked to hog all the bidding, and he was always going all in, and he made sure he played every single contract. And then one of them was the Unlucky Expert. And what Unlucky Expert did was he knew all the proper theory, he knew all the systems, but his partner would always get it slightly wrong. He got very complicated, and the partner wouldn't quite work it out. And so he was always very, very unlucky. Or he'd have worked out this sequence, and then the cards weren't in exactly the same way. And so after the game, he would always win the post-mortem. But winning the game, he wouldn't do that so much.
This was very convincing anyway, because king was cut off on the side, and bishop h3 was going to lose to rook f2 check. So that was Aardvark CYA losing against
Hideous Hog. That's Jonathan Hill, isn't it? Yes, Jonathan Hill.
So we've got some more games from the juniors. Suryas Prasad losing, unfortunately, as white to SV2701. Let's see who we've got more there. Then we're getting to the end of it.
Yeah, I couldn't find the under 18s actually. I was looking up
Sheriff.
Yeah. But I didn't get to him when I tried.
Okay, we're losing a few people.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Leo will start going through the top ones. We get loads of results here. So Paul Rowan beat Alex Royal with a great little checkmate there. Patrick won with 2 queens, as we heard. Acrid Leaf has beaten Powerful Wolf. This was the one where let's have a look. We last saw it at this stage. Black played this move a4 that I didn't like, because it conceded the b4 square, and indeed Black's king got into all sorts of trouble, and White won that game. Something Gambit.
These games should be live. Jonathan Mckay against Toby Cox and Elise Dyson against Shreyas Royal should be happening right now, and the other 2 are finished. So James Merriman won against Archie.
Okay.
And one against Nicholas Brown.
So just to try and get rid of a few. Anyway, Rubik's Cube beat Night Slasher. That was the game where White played this Rook b6. There we are. That was very powerful, and it ended in mate there. Lucas Chess managed to defeat Advite 1603. A lot of extra material there. And AGL20 against Master Angad. AGL20, what game was this? It was we saw it at this point. And I was suggesting knight h2 here, but Black took on e5 in that position. And then after d takes e5, knight takes b6 was played. Let's have a look. D takes e5, takes and d4, queen e2. And d4. That was very sensible way of playing, exchanging off pieces, stopping anything happening, and then d4. This is a good ending for White, or a good queenless middle game, because a powerful d pawn and these pawns are weak here. So very well played there. Millennium Haldea, yes indeed, he was a knight down, and Jung finished that off very nicely. We've got so we saw that White had grabbed a pawn on a7 here in the seniors here. Pete Lennon against Jeff Stewart, And he grabbed a rook in the end as well. Rook c5, queen takes c5, and that's enough to give Pete Leonard a win there. Now, what have we got here? We've got Jonathan Mckay against Toby Cox.
Oh, interesting. And look at that pawn on f5 at the moment is looking
a little bit targeted, isn't it? You could the pawn f5 could feel a little bit aggrieved there. So are we going to get a draw by repetition here, or is Black going to play queen g7 after queen g8 check? Indeed, no draw. I mean, Black has actually got how many extra pawns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 extra pawns. So yes, you would expect Black to carry on there. I suppose queen c8
goes back to queen c8 again.
Oh, pardon me. Yes, indeed. I think we might go maybe play a move like rook e5. That would maybe be the safest. Could play rook e5 to c5 just to keep everything together. Yeah, I mean these positions are always a little bit. Or we could go actually maybe even stronger is to go rook f8 afterwards, because we can just chase the rook away. Always these positions, with lots of major pieces and split pawns. It's they're always a little bit tricky, but Black, of course, should make this in the end. Oh no, Hamatua lost. Hamatua lost to George Green. Such a good position.
Looking good, wasn't he? He was pawn off and attacking.
Up, but somewhere something went wrong there. Rook f5, rook takes e6. Queen g4, h6. Oh my goodness me, look at that. So White thought he was lining up against the opponent's king, but actually got caught out there.
Away, then
moved that rook out of the way, then rook g6. So White was forced to give up the rook, and Black powered through. So a big shock there. Oh, wait a minute. What of so that's a shock there, but what have we got? We've got Rob Wilmot against Herr Doctor. So, well, actually, it's a quick win, but Rob actually swapped off the queen. So I thought, did he find something in this position? But Rob just swapped off the queens.
Yeah.
G5 wasn't a good idea.
Yeah. Because we were saying, why hasn't he castled? But he didn't need to, because he got the queens off and went into an endgame, and then he wanted to get his king out in the endgame. And I bet that's the kids he coaches.
Oh, pardon me. Rook f4 would have been the best move, to e4, I think, just to get the rook active, or maybe to take back with the rook on f6. That would also have been possible. But g5 is not good because pardon me. G5 is not good because you're just opening a line for White. Actually, you're developing White's rook on h1 here. So Rob exchanged off the rooks. Yeah, and you're getting into trouble here. So knight e5 check, f3, and then Rob played a good plan here. Just knight round to g4, knight round to e3, and then this move g4, very strong. Knight king f5, and here Black did the final blunder. Knight f5 check, forks, king, and bishop, and White has won a piece.
Very good, well played, Rob. So what does that do to the tournament? I think Rob was half a point behind Clive in the over 50s.
Clive Frostick.
Yeah.
So let's have a look then. This is
it looks like David Walker, who was the early leader. He's got a half point, so I guess that's a bye. And it looks like Robin Moss and Terry Chapman have maybe withdrawn because they're not paired.
Okay.
Yeah, so actually it's not just Clive in the lead, or at least David Walker will get up to 4 points. If Clive wins, so Rob Wilmot's just gone on to 4.5. Tim Kett is on 3.5, so he could get to 4.5 if he wins that game. And Clive, depending on so how's Remy and Clive going?
So Remy against Clive. This is well, actually, you can have a look at that, Natasha. I'm just going to switch on Amazon Prime Football for my dad. Just give me 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's Clive and Remy. there we've got on the screen. Okay, so what we've got is Remy's playing white, Clive Frostick is playing black. And we saw this game earlier, and what we noticed was that white has a passed d pawn, but also that black has a passed d pawn. And we were wondering if one or other of those pawns is going to get weak at some time. Now, black has just, this is Clive Frostick, has just put his rook to d8 to attack white's d pawn, and Remy is countering by taking the b pawn for white. So now black could maybe take the pawn on d6, and so black is counter-attacking with a rook on the 7th. Always good to keep your pieces active in these types of games. And it doesn't look like that white d pawn can power through anytime soon. And so Clive's the tournament leader. He's got quite active pieces here, so I quite like it for black. We'll see if Matthew agrees with that assessment.
Oh, let's have a look. What's happening then? So 5 against 5.
I've given an opinion on who's better here.
Who's better and why? Oh, I've got no idea actually. Whose d pawn is better there? But aren't we just winning a d pawn here? Yeah, queen d6. We're just picking up a d pawn. Exactly. So black is looking. Black's looking very good here. Takes, rook takes. Yes, Clive looking good for a win there. Let's have a little look.
Have you ever played Clive, Matthew? I've played Clive quite a few times, and I think he's very strong. I think he's quite a positional player, and so it's hard to get anything against him.
Okay, I'm trying to think when I've played Clive. I'm not sure actually.
I think he plays one of these clubs. Maybe it's Wimbledon. I could have that wrong, but maybe Wimbledon. Or one of those kind of clubs. Okay. Richmond or Wimbledon or something like that.
Okay, well, he's looking good to go at the moment. Let's have a look at what's happening with Tim Kett. So White's actually played this. Looks like White's done a pretty good job here. Got the knight round to c5 and tripled up on the f pawn. So that has actually worked out quite well.
So is there a threat with knight e6?
There certainly is. That is the big cheapo in the position. So let me bring up a... if we were to play a5, a rather strange move, then knight e6 would be very strong because we got this queen f8, rook f8, rook f8 mate.
Yeah.
So... Yeah. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? I mean, I could go queen b4. That's possible. Just hitting this one. Because after knight e6, I go fe. However, there's the other thing.
d7.
Exactly. That's the thing that I've allowed by playing queen b4. I'm just wondering whether I could go queen d4, and whether you could do something like this and claim that this pawn is weak. But I don't know. I don't think you really want to do this. I mean, I can play rook e8. That looks very passive, rook e8. I can go queen c6. So the black's position is particularly bad, but I'm sort of thinking,
Tim Kett is black here, right?
Yeah, Tim Kett is black here.
Yes.
Let's have a look. He's played queen c6. Yeah, I guess that's the most sensible. I mean, black is not doing too badly. I mean, he's got some, but maybe we're going to play knight e4 now with white. Just try and play knight d6. I actually thought that black, was going to have some weak pawns to aim for and was going to be a bit in control, but it hasn't turned out like that at all. Maybe I got it wrong. I maybe just didn't evaluate it properly. I mean, knight e4 is definitely one idea there. You could also, I mean, queen h5 is also a possibility as well. H4 from white. Well, there we are. Somebody's been reading their AlphaZero book there. A good idea, just threatening h6 in principle. Now, I do wonder whether black might... Okay, 97, that's very solid from Tim. I was wondering whether you might play f6 or f5, actually.
Yeah.
F6, just to try and break things open, but it was a little bit risky with the pawn on e6. 97's a good solid move. So black actually, sort of thinking about playing knight to f5, possibly, just to
it looks like
come around this pawn.
Swap the queens off as well.
Well, the only thing about this actually is that, you could actually take, because if we go rook c6, then knight d7 is actually working here. Rook d8, rook f7. Kind of working, because we've got knight f5 then, blocking, but then we go d5, and I think this is working because king f7, we go dc, and we're protecting this knight. And otherwise, if you move your rook away, I'm just going d takes e. So yeah, so that's not going to work. But maybe I can kind of maybe take with a knight on c6, and if you go knight here, I'll go rook d8, for example, and if rook f7, I'll go knight d4. And this knight's, and this knight's doesn't have any really good squares here somehow. You're too slow. One move too slow, really. If you get an 8 or something, you'd be you might actually have some chances, but this might be a little bit awkward. I can go rook e7, I suppose, come to think of it. Then I go knight c6, maybe. Rook f7. You're still a little bit... It's a weird... Yeah, I don't know. It might be something that ends in a draw by repetition, I'm sure. But maybe black's got some more moves you can try. Probably it's knight f5, I go rook e6. And rook d7, I've got rook takes f5. But the question is whether I've got a good knight move away without getting hit on the way back. Not clear at all. I can't see that one quickly, but but white hasn't taken. White's gone knight f5 and h5, so white's going for it in a big way here. Knight e3 was an idea, but I guess that was probably going to be too risky. Tim Kett declined a draw. Tim Kett is going for it.
Interesting. Maybe to do with the tournament standings as well as the.
I think so. He avoided this, which was probably correct, I imagine, because this seems to lead to mate. So knight f5. Oh, and white's gone for it. Rook takes f5.
Okay.
Wow.
So an exchange sack. Right.
Yeah. First impression is this is not
enough.
Not enough, really. But well, I've been wrong before, of course, about this game. So, I mean, white's threatening rook f6 here, kind of, and rook h6. Not 100% sure that's a big threat. But I mean, I would actually like to go queen d5 in this position. But I was wondering whether e6 was going to cause some damage, and I think that it probably is, because we've got this X-ray attack on the rook. So if you go something like d6, I take, and take, and then this one is hanging. So I mean, maybe you should just play. Could you play a move like rook d8? Would that be possible? And the idea is if rook f6, I just go queen d5, and I just want to go queen takes d4 check, and if I manage to force one of these pieces back, then I must be happy there. And I don't think that. Well, this is intriguing. E6. No, it doesn't. There's no chance of this working. No, just queen d4 is going to be good there. I was thinking of some crazy stuff, but that doesn't seem to be working. So Tim kept thinking here. Rook d8 looks quite interesting to me as he's played it. Yeah, that's good. What I could do though is thinking about it, I could play e6 here.
Okay.
Because after Oh, yeah, no, wait a minute. Would that have been strong, actually? E6 was interesting because if FE, I go knight takes E6, forking these two.
All right.
And queen E6, I've got rook F8 check.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I think that this would have been a nasty one to deal with, I think.
So how's rook f6 then? The one he played. That's
Well, I think that queen D5 simply is. And he's gone rook H6, but just queen D4 check here. The point is, White was ahead on time, and he's really just forced Black to play this line, and this is always going to be better for Black because with two rooks, and I think rook E8 here, for example, or even rook D5. Now rook D5 will be strong. You're going to pick up a couple of pawns now, so I think a move like E6 would have been much more tricky there. But I think Tim Kett's looking good for the win now.
Yeah, so Tim Kett judged it well then to turn down that draw.
Indeed. And Clive Frostick is also looking very good for the win there as well.
Okay, so assuming those go like that, then we'll have Clive Frostick half a point clear in the lead in the over 50, ahead of, assuming Tim Kett wins, we've already seen Rob Wilmoth won, ahead of those two players. So they will have, let me get the scores right, they will have 4.5, and we will have David Walker on 4 points. And then a gap actually down to Jonathan Hill on 3.5. That's Hideous Hog.
Okay.
Yeah. And then that is going into the final round. So
wow.
Clive, yeah. So Clive will be half a point ahead going into the final round. I'm just going to have a quick click on him to see whether he's played Rob and Tim Kett. He has played both Rob and Tim Kett and David Walker and Jonathan Hill. So he will have a down float in the final round. That's not so surprising because it is just a 7-round tournament with, let me get it right. They've got 6 boards, 5, 10, 11, 12 players. So it's quite likely that you'll have played all the top players by the time you get to round 7. So if Clive, so then Clive will have to think whether he wants to play for the win or try and go for a draw. But I think in those kind of situations, it's as well to play for the win if you've got a down float and you're half a point clear. But it can be just as hard to play for the draw as it is to play for the win.
This is David Bray, Ed Goodwin against David Bray. So David Bray looking very good for the point here. I think, there's anything really. Bishop D7, E takes F5, Knight A4, all very good ways for Black to finish off huge pawn. Knight D3 also very good. So, actually, even the best one. If Bishop D1, we go B2, and then Bishop C2, we go Knight E1 check. So that's looking very, very good.
Good for Dave Bray, did you say?
Indeed, yes, indeed.
So he will be on. If he wins that, he'll be on 4.5. George Green will be a point clear on 5.5. Those two have played each other. They got a draw. So then George Green will just need a draw in the final round to be absolutely sure.
Clive Frostick has won, by the way. So that's
yes. So he's looking good in the over 50s, and
Tim Kett also very close to a win as well. So
okay, yeah. So all set up for the final round tomorrow.
Look at some final positions there. Marshall 007. Michael Marshall beat Robert Smart.
Yep.
And let's have a look. We've got Spud Lover. Looking very, very good there. And Spud Lover has won.
Okay.
So what have we got left? We've got Tim Kett still grinding away there. Coventry 1, 2, 3. So David Bray has won indeed. The game finished just as we said, 91 check. And then that means that we've just got Tim Kett still going along, but that is going to be a win very, very soon.
Fine. We should maybe wrap up anyway because we're back
Indeed.
on in an hour.
Indeed.
To look at the not the seniors, I was going to say the Open this evening. So just to have a quick check on the pairings for the Open this evening, we have so this would be round 6 out of 9 rounds in the Open. We have on board 1, Michael Adams against Grandmaster Bogdan Lalic. Will be
indeed, because Michael's already played Tristan Cox. We'd forgotten, but he played Rock Troll in round 1 actually. So he's actually played all of the people on 4.
So it's a 1.5 point down float. Tristan Cox against Matthew Turner, and so 2 quite attacking, tricky players, and then on board 3, Matthew Wadsworth against Amit Ghazi, and we've seen both of these play really, really well this tournament. So this should be a very interesting game. Board 4, Daniel Fernandez against Peter Finn.
Indeed.
Board 5, Tom O'Gorman against Harry Reeve. And then the top.
That should be a good one. That should be a good one. They've been they've both been a bit crazy, those guys.
And some crazy chess there, yeah. And then Gregor Toshek against Harry Evans. Sorry, this just turned itself on. Let's turn that off. And then we've got Ishmael Mohammed Ayan against Mark Diamonaut in action against Hebbs. And then Tom Wills against Tamne Chopra. And then Oliver Stubbs, some qualifiers against Tom Villiers, Hack Attack. And Oscar Idle against Jonathan Blackburn.
Yeah, I've just seen, by the way, that it looks like William Claridge Hansen has withdrawn.
Oh.
So Katarzyna Toma's got a half point buy, but it looks like William Claridge Hansen has withdrawn, actually.
He has a 1 point buy.
Oh, would he have a 1? No, I don't know. No, it looks like a 0 next to his name, I think.
Yes, no, I don't know. You're right. Why? Oh, okay. There could be many reasons for withdrawing, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, I hope everything's fine with him.
Yeah, it's a shame because looking forward to seeing him play again.
He's played superbly well this tournament.
He has indeed. So
what a shame.
Yeah. But we should still have quite a few other good games, and I think respect to Zoe Varney and Tashika Aurora, who are playing playing the both the women's championship and the Open Championship as well. So I think they're playing a lot of chess, so and doing very well in both. So just good to see there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll wrap it up there and hopefully see you in about an hour.
Okay, yeah, look forward to it. Thank you very much for watching.
Thanks for watching.